Hey guys, it's Villain Theory, and we're back with my unusual X-Force decks. Now, last time I introduced the first two, and I challenged you guys to play the decks, and I also challenged a few content creators to do it, and a little bit of behind-the-scenes knowledge. I spoke to a few of them beforehand, and a bunch of people agreed to it. They thought it was a really cool idea, and the truth is, none of them have played it, which is a little bit disappointing, but people are busy, things happen, it is what it is, and fortunately, you guys came through. I've had a ton of you guys play it, which is really exciting and more than I expected. And I have had one person actually record a video and post that to YouTube, which is really, really cool. So we'll look at them, shout out their channel very shortly. So we're going to have a lightning quick recap about how the decks work. Then we're going to watch, I think, the video first, then I'll react to you guys playing it. I've got a lot of messages from Discord about how your experiences went and things like that. It's been really, really cool. And then we'll look at the final four X-Force decks. Now, it was my intent to post two per week, then react to people playing them, over a couple of weeks, and then post another two. But because of time constraints, I've had to push this video back a lot. So we're just going to put all of the decks out there, and I cannot guarantee I'll be reacting to them on a video again. But if you do post any kind of ways you played them or videos, I will 120% be watching, and I really look forward to that. So first up, we have the cable deck, My Own Worst Frenemy, which was a pool deck, but unlike all the other pool decks that I had seen published, it didn't use things like laser swords or even the pool side scheme. Instead, it uses ambush, which to me is kind of the most usual card for cable in all of pool, but nobody had seemingly been using it, at least on published decks on Marvel CDB. So I thought it was really worth trying to explore that, and I also used 45 cards here, which is a little bit unusual in itself, although I actually really like it for cable. Not for every deck, but actually quite a lot of them. It lets you kind of dilute the player's side schemes. It delays that first encounter card because you're a bit of a slower build character, gives you more time to prepare for that, various different benefits. But in general, I think this works really well. I had a lot of fun testing it. And the main card, like I say, is Ambush, which is a 1-cost upgrade, which you attach to a side scheme. When that side scheme is defeated, you get to discard a non-elite minion. Then we have the Honorary Psionic deck for Domino, and this was inspired by finding out that her luck kind of powers is actually kind of a subconscious psionic kind of aura. Apparently, I read some lore somewhere on some Marvel site, and I was like, okay, we'll give her Cerebro. So the deck is all about using X-Men allies, but although it was inspired by Cerebro, the kind of key card that makes it actually is Danger Room. Danger Room is priority number 1. Cerebro is kind of, priority maybe number 3 or 4, but still very good card for it. So Danger Room is going to let you play your X-Men allies and get Danger Room training on them, despite her being an X-Force hero. That's why it's a little bit unusual. I've never seen anyone really use X-Men allies, in leadership with Danger Room, with Cerebro on Domino before. So I thought this was really interesting, and I had a lot of fun testing it. This was more intended for 2 to 4 players, just so you have that better, threat threshold on the main scheme, so you can keep flipping, because I think Domino is a hero who absolutely loves to keep flipping. But yeah, this works really well. We've got a couple of Psionic allies to keep Cerebro online searching our whole deck, but we can do Domino things, swapping cards to the top of our deck. So even if we only look at the top 5 cards of our deck, we are guaranteed by doing that with Cerebro to be able to find an X-Men ally that way. So really, really fun as well, I thought. So why don't we go and see some of these in action? Specifically, the video is for the cable deck, and most people have played the cable deck as well on sort of the kind of Discord experiences that I asked for, because it is the one that is really intended for solo play. So here we are on YouTube, a place quite familiar to me, and this is a video by someone called Waris Ali. Hopefully I can get their kind of details up on the screen somehow. Please go ahead and check them out. I think it's really cool that they did this, and hopefully we can help them get to 1,000 subs. I think that'd be really fun. So they decided to take Nathan Summers here, our cable deck, our, My Own Worst Frenemy, up against Thanos, which is a pretty interesting choice. Now, I'm just going to watch this video, I'm going to let it play, and I'll just react as I go. Now, I'm still actually not that experienced with YouTube. I've never actually tried to watch somebody else and have audio from it. So I don't know if you guys will be able to hear Waris playing this or not, but I will be commenting. I will probably react to the whole thing. I've got my tea here. I'm feeling very, very British, and I'll just be watching it and kind of talking as I see and kind of reacting. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. I like this mat. I have the blue version that I use sometimes here, but the black one is really cool. So you can kind of see the blue of the, oh, I really like that he's got this way to zoom into the cards. That's going to make it a lot easier for you guys, I think, to follow along. So that's excellent. And I like how the green screen is, kind of affecting Cable's, arm projecting hologram. So you could actually kind of, use that to maybe Photoshop anything you want him to be projecting here. That's pretty funny. So about the Alter Ego ability with this deck, the setup ability where you get to bring in a player side scheme. The ideal one is specialized training. but you get to choose your kind of setup side scheme after seeing your opening hand. Ideally, you want to kind of fish for ways to remove free threats, whether it's Professor X or Mind Scan. So you can hit Specialized Training and then forward it for 2 yourself after that with your basic forwarding. So you can clear it immediately. Then you have free forwarding, which will instantly clear any of the other player side schemes in your deck. It will help you control the main scheme, any other side schemes that come in. Really, really good. So I think that's the optimal outcome of this deck. But anything like build support or call for backup are also absolutely excellent choices, and in some scenarios and situations actually better. So I'm curious to see what happens here. Starting with the Space Stone, that's pretty tricky. I would much rather start with maybe the Stun Power Stone, Infinity Stone, because there aren't that many minions in here. So until you see the Space Stone, you're probably not too worried about that stun to start with. I think that's a pretty chill one. Or the Soul Stone as well. Never too worried about those to start with. The worst one is a Reality Stone, I think. So looking at this opening hand, this is really, really interesting. Self-confidence will pay for Spider-Man. Spider-Man with his response can get free forwarding for this turn. Free forwarding, add cables to forwarding. We'll take out specialized training if we choose that as our player side scheme on turn 1. So that is an exceptional start. Getting ambush here when the Space Stone in play is potentially really good, but I believe almost every minion here has the elite trait keyword. So that is going to be a bit of a problem for ambush here. So actually, ambush might not work very well against Thanos. I can't 100% remember if that's on all of the Black Order, but we will see how this goes. So you might not actually see much ambush action here, guys, but nonetheless, if it had different mod sets or something like that, because I believe he's using the recommended mod sets, that could be really, really useful. But nonetheless, Spider-Man starting off really strong. I think I'd probably keep Tic-Tac-Toe as well here. And depending on the mod sets and how many elite minions, maybe ambush goes away. Take out Telekinetic Blast, why is that hard to say? Telekinetic Blast and Telekinetic Force Field, I'd probably mulligan those. So keep the left 3 cards, ditch the right 3. That would be how I would do it. And I'm curious to see how this plays out now that I've made that kind of analysis. I so hope they don't all have the elite trait. I really hope so. If they weren't all elite, I would agree with the ambush keep here. That's so good with Space Stone. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. As you read the write-up. He's looking for the basic ones. He's looking for it. Nope. Close. Yeah, okay, excellent. This is very different to D20 playing one of my decks, because D20 never reads anything about it. This is excellent. So, and you don't have to read them. I think it's perfectly fine not to as well and play it how you want, but not everything will line up kind of as the deck has been designed if you aren't kind of playing it as designed. And there's definitely leeway to express yourself when you play a deck, but there are also some really key things like building around a setup ability that I think are, definitely important with cable, shall we say. Okay. Yep. For Spider-Man, yep. And this is a triple resource because you're at 4 HP, and it triples the HP. It triples the resources it generates if you're at 4 HP. Which he's probably just explaining here. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Probably not. Then, yep. And I like that we have the same kind of color scheme in Self-Confidence, the resource, and Spider-Man, and kind of the kind of pool aspect in general, really. So this is pretty nice. So cable flips. Healing factors are a really nice find here. He's just talking about that now. And I wouldn't spend those just yet. Okay, nice. Card draw first, and I'm pretty sure he could go for... Yep, he's just doing basically the thing. Spider-Man forts, cable forts, get specialized training. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for combat specialist or surveillance specialist, because I say they're both pretty good in the write-up for the deck. And surveillance specialist, I do identify as being a little bit better. Depending on the consequential and stuff, cable is readied. I'm just going to skip ahead a tiny bit. What are we going for? Head combat specialist? No. Surveillance specialist. Nice. So that's the +1 forwarding. Now you can just one-shot all those other player side schemes, and you can get card draw from it when you forward. And you can actually trigger that card draw immediately, but he's forwarding again, which is perfectly fine. So we almost got a Sanctuary. Oh, I got a double resource. No way. This is an excellent start. Ambush would be amazing if the minions were not elite. So yeah, now we have 2 healing every turn, which is going to be extremely good against Thanos, who his main thing is punching you in the face. Yeah. So 1 resource for basically 1 healing is how it works, but then you can kind of build up some damage. This is a nice card. Do you also get Blackout? Let's have a look. Yep, cool. So this is a stupid start. This is kind of why Cable is so good. This works so well. So we've got our main player side scheme has been completed. We've got Surveillance Specialist in play. So now we should be cruising on threat for the rest of the game. Healing Factor. Now we should kind of be not cruising because you don't really cruise against damage on Thanos for the most part. But Healing Factor is going to make survivability so much better. We have an ally who has 1 to 2 more uses. And we have Tic-Tac-Toe and Blackout just to be ultra flexible. So this start is really very good. I think maybe if we were lucky enough to get another player's side scheme, kind of something in our opening hand, we could maybe have then defeated Call for Backup, got Nick Fury, drawn more cards. That would have been, even better. There are a lot of really good starts with Cable. That is just one example. But nonetheless, getting that double resource from Surveillance Specialist has just really, I think having Tic-Tac-Toe and Blackout as options, even if you don't end up using them a ton throughout the game, having the option to be flexible there and having maybe the built-up damage on like Tic-Tac-Toe, it can let you be a bit more flexible and, play differently than you would have otherwise. I think that's really fun to kind of have that there. I think this is a strong start. Like for standard Thanos, I think the Mad Titan here is in for a bad time. Let's have a look at this hand we've got here. Okay, we've got Double Mind Scan, Nick Fury. Unfortunately, no player side schemes again, even though there's there's another 7 in this deck here, but that is fine. We got Professor, which is a nice setup card as well. Thanos has a nice big main scheme threat threshold that makes actually being able to get Alter Ego a lot more viable in solo play. So although we have Body Slide in the deck, which is a stupidly good card, I mean it's in every Cable deck, but yeah, Cable against Thanos here with this kind of deck where we might want to go Alter Ego and use Professor is going to be very nice. I would be surprised. I think I'd be surprised if we didn't see Nick Fury played here, but it is quite expensive and maybe there's going to be a minion as well. No, we got to see a Nick Fury here, I expect, going forward. But let's see what happens in the villain phase. Going to skip it forward a little bit. Going to take the hit. I probably would as well, even though the downside of taking a hit here is that our pool resources are now probably only going to be generating 2 or even 1 resource instead of 3 now. But we have Healing Factor, which will probably bring it back up to, at worst case, generating 2 resources per resource. But I would want to preserve Spider-Man just because we are getting a minion coming in play as well here. So I think this is what I would do quite often on almost any character. Turn 1, I'm taking the first hit on the face. And there are a few exceptions, and pool resources are a good reason not to. But let's see how we go. Looks like he got 0 boost here, which is it's really good. So he will go back up to 11 health unless something bad happens. Outrider. So the one revealed won't trigger. Oh, is this part of the recommended mod says? I thought it was Children of Thanos and Black Order. Armies of Titan having some non-elites in here gonna make Ambush really good. Although at 2 hit points, yeah, Ambush probably not necessary here. Still don't think it's a bad play, but there's obviously much more efficient plays, and this thing is probably going to get taken up by Spider-Man, Miles Morales, as we go into the next turn. So, yep. Oh, the scariest encounter card in the whole encounter set. He attacks you with Overkill and Piercing. Now, we just took an attack, and if this was, maybe we had a much worse boost card than Advanced before, and we could be really hurting. Maybe if the Soul Stone I think it brings another boost card. This could be really dangerous, but I think we're going to be just fine here. We're on standard, so it's not as scary as Expert could potentially be, but like this is going to be a little bit unfortunate here. So the pool resource is suddenly looking a lot less valuable. But fortunately, we don't have any here in our hand, and I'm really curious now to see if we're going to go Alter Ego to heal up a bit more or not. We don't necessarily need to if we don't take too much damage. Actually, Healing Factor will just kind of, we'll just tick back up to full health. That's a really nice kind of thing about it, just that passive kind of reliable healing. So let's see what happens here. This card is terrifying. One of the scariest cards in the game in a way. Not many cards will make someone attack with Overkill and Piercing. Yeah, Nova Side seems a little bit unfortunate. He's talking about that now, but it's not the end of the world. I think Professor there will help us find them, but we're almost certainly going to find one in the next turn or two. And, the Cable does like to build up. Surveillance Specialist is, and yeah, Surveillance Specialist is a lot of the building you will ever need. Honestly, you do want more, but nonetheless. Okay, it's just a 1 boost. We're getting pretty lucky with those, so he's absolutely fine here. So he's down to 4 health. That's a little bit unfortunate. Healing Factor healing. That's excellent. Now, this is what I'm really curious for. I think this hand is fine. If you ever have Nick Fury in a hand, your hand is good. It's just the way it is. Some people love Ascani Sun, and some people just don't use it very much. I'm probably toward the latter, although I do like it when I can afford it. Power Stone, yep, comes in after the extra activation. Power Stone, who cares? That's the stun one, I believe. Yes, it is. Yep, he's rolling out Mind Scan because the threat's handled. Okay. Interesting. I prefer Professor to Ascani Sun, but Ascani Sun is good. And we are against Thanos, he'll damage us a lot. And we've already seen the overkill, so. Yeah, this is what I was kind of saying. Any hand with Nick Fury is a good hand, and he wasn't guaranteed to get a player side scheme, but the odds were pretty good. And even if he didn't, he might have found something else really good, like a nice expensive ally. Well, maybe not too expensive, but a nice ally to play whatever else he finds on, and so on. In worst case, you just spend everything on Tic Tac Toe and Blackout, and still a really good turn, honestly. Not hyper efficient, but still very good. Build support, I imagine he'll go full Grey Malkin. That is always my favorite one to go for with this. But there are a couple of options in the deck. I think there's like 3 or 4 supports that are all fine to use for build support, although they're not all built equal. Okay, so I don't know how easy this is to follow, probably without audio here, but instead of playing Ascani Sun, he's using the wild to contribute to a tic-tac-toe to heal somebody, and I'm actually not sure who yet. Probably Cable, though, but it could be Spider-Man. He's hitting up to 7, I believe. There we go. He's going to keep it. That's a really interesting play. I would have been tempted to either play Ascani Sun or just throw both of them into Tic Tac Toe. I probably would have played Ascani Sun, but keeping it because we're going to be able to go Ultra Ego. And if he recovers and healing factor, yeah, he could get free resource out of it. Actually, probably the better play there. So I do really like that. I do think it's slightly unfortunate we now lost Ascani Sun, and we've lost Professor. We lost a couple of nice things there we could have from Cable, but none of them are critical to the deck whatsoever. So this could be really nice. And having seen a few of our 0-cost cards and 1-cost cards go, keeping that kind of triple resource, we are probably due to get a really, really nice kind of more expensive card, at least one in our next hand. That's good. Okay, Nick Fury is blocking the attack. It's 2 boost icons, and he isn't counting the he's counting the +1 from the Infinity Gauntlet as well. Stun from Power Stone. Cool, whatever. Oh, this is a very forgiving encounter card. A lot of Thanos' encounter cards are really chill because a lot of the difficulty comes from that Infinity Gauntlet and his huge attack stat. So aside from Avatar of Death, a lot of his cards not too bad. Tough status card, not a big deal. Insight 1, not a big deal, especially for Surveillance Specialist Cable. I'm worried. We're 10 minutes, 11 minutes into this out of 25, and we haven't damaged him. I hope he doesn't lose with this deck. It's my only video, but that would be fine. Let's see what happens. It's really interesting watching somebody else. Let me know if you guys enjoy this and want to see more like this. He's got at least one player side scheme here, so this is a little bit unfortunate that build support was not defeated last turn, because then he could play the new player side scheme, defeat it, and then 0 off the main scheme as well. Whereas we might still be able to do that here, but not all with our basic activation. I can't quite see everything in his hand, but yeah, let's see what happens. Show me your whole hand. Show me the hand. Yeah, you get to heal your ally. Yep, he's yeah, this is good. And it was an energy, so ideally, this is still fine actually. Yeah, this is good. It would just be difficult to use any more energies for Tic-Tac-Toe without kind of getting less value. So here I can kind of see the hand. I'm pretty sure this is Machine Man on the left, this little ally. He's got Render Medical Aid. That's going to heal Spider-Man. It's going to heal Cable. I wonder if he'll rewind and unheal Spider-Man with Tic-Tac-Toe to heal them with Render Medical Aid potentially. But using that triple or double resource right now, we could get Machine Man out. And Temporal Leap we could also play as well. What is that 0-cost event there? Does that get Ragey? I mean, we could just do that, then Render Medical Aid. I mean, that would still fully heal Spider-Man and Cable, I think. Yeah, I mean, so we've got some interesting options here. I love Precognition, but with I think 3 side schemes in the victory play. Okay, Precognition is actually a fairly decent play as well right now. So lots of good options with this hand. Obviously, your player side scheme is going to be the priority, and I do like me some Machine Man, especially with the triple resources. That's one of the reasons he's in this deck. They're running up, start of the new round. And what have we got? I missed that entirely. Rewind. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay. Lay the Trap, which is good damage for Thanos. I can see this game is going to go a lot quicker. Ironheart, good. Plasma Rifle, really good. X-Bunker, really good. Although, maybe it's just me who leans on Older Ego a little bit more. I get the impression Warris here doesn't really want to go Trigger unless he has to, which is obviously normally really good in solo play. So I suspect he might not actually play X Bunker. I'm thinking Ironheart, get a couple cards, yeah. And then we've got Grey Malkin as well for Lay the Trap, and maybe even Blackout or something, just to keep the main scheme under control while we attack. There's some interesting options here. I really like this. Interesting. Spider-Man's seeking to retaliate, but, you know, that's absolutely fine, honestly. I agree. Apologizing if it's not optimal. It doesn't have to be optimal. If I'm pointing things out that could have been done or little bits like that, it's just because I'm sitting here chilling. I'm relaxed. It's a lot easier that I'm not having to manage all the pieces and things, and it's just a bit of entertainment, bit of discussion. So if you're watching this, Warris, hopefully I'm saying your name right as well. I'm very bad with names. No problem at all. I think this is going really well. You know, I'm pointing out little efficiencies or little forgotten things here or there, but this is a really good game. There's loads of really good decision making overall, so I really like this. You know, there's no one I've ever watched play any one of my decks where I've not been like, well, actually, I would have done this, I would have done that. Just people normally can't hear me, but I'm always thinking about it, always trying to analyze. And he is saying he likes the deck, which is good. We have Telekinetic Blast, so Thanos is possibly getting defeated this round. We could also call for backup. Maybe we get Nick Fury back in to deal full damage guaranteed, although drawing 3 cards is good too. We're going to healing factor probably here up to full health, because I imagine Spider-Man's going to take the hit. So that's really good. Yeah, we can just Telekinetic Blast with a triple. Then we can call for backup. And with Grey Malkin, actually, yeah, we can Ironheart as well. Maybe we want to do that first. And we're then ready up Grey Malkin from defeating call for backup to Plasma Rifle. So yeah, I'm thinking we probably can take out Thanos here. I've not mapped it all out. I can't quite see the side scheme victory display, see how much damage there is, but I think it's at least +4. Yeah, blocking with Spider-Man. Never be afraid to sacrifice a 1 hit point ally. Additional boost card. That is going to be, wow, just 5. Nice. Cool. Spider-Man is gone. Didn't really matter anyway about those boost cards. Time Stone is very annoying, but the main scheme's super safe. So I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit. Second encounter card coming up. We have... that's fine. That's ambush bait if I've ever seen it. That 4 cost 4 HP non-elite. But we don't have ambush. But, you know, if we did... So I think 2 still left in his deck. Actually, didn't see what he discarded because I fast forwarded, but regardless, let's see what happens here. Now, Telekinetic Blast is going to be a little bit more expensive now, but we still have the full resource functioning as a double resource. So, worst case, we just have slightly less going on. Maybe we do use Nick here to draw cards. If he actually goes for that play, I'll see kind of what he ends up going for with call for backup, but it's definitely hard not to go for Nick Fury. Yep, let's call for backup. We were always playing call for backup. It's just so good. Forwarding it, we've got free forwarding, super good. Yeah, okay, excellent. This is by the book, and it's a very good book. Getting his card from Silent Specialist now. So he went for the card draw, and he got the extra card draw from there, this is still good. Now we have Ambush, which will help us get through. We definitely have to play a side scheme. I do kind of want to attack, but you know, there comes a point with certain decks in certain situations where everything is just good, and you know, you don't even have to worry about really being super optimal because things are just going your way all over. And you know, certain fitness, I'd be extremely, extremely meticulous about things. But yeah, this is good. I'm curious to see what he goes for. I'm not going to analyze it too much. Let's see. But yeah, he's talking about how if we ambush the Black Order infantry, because it's not defeated, it's just discarded, we don't have to worry about its when defeated effect, which gives the villain a tough, which would slow down our defeating it, which I hadn't actually read on it as we went past it. So that's very, very good. Establish perimeter, why not? We'll get healthy. That's another very good way to keep those pool resources firing. So what's he going to spend? It is looking like Ironheart for ambush. Absolutely fine. Yep, max 1 per side scheme. Let's fast forward a little bit. So what's he going to go for? I really want to take Telekinetic Blast. I want him to, in a nicest way, hurt somebody. Hurt Thanos, really. Looks like Fury's going to take out Established Perimeter, which I think is fine. Cable's already got his ready up. That's absolutely excellent. And there we go. Ambush has taken out Black Order Infantry, which is basically kind of quote-unquote dealt 4 damage, but also bypassed the when defeated effect. 7 player side schemes in the victory display. That is phenomenal. Putting out Techno Purge. I don't honestly always bother with this really, particularly what I could say is this late in the game, but there's nothing wrong with it. Once you have Surveillance Specialist, it's a lot easier to get rid of, and especially once your mind scans are super powered up, that's really, really very good. No, there's no way to. He talked about if he can heal himself to get that as a triple resource, but there's no way right now. Now he's wondering if he can kill Thanos, and there's definitely a good chance before. I'm not 100% sure now, but maybe. He's counting out the damage. He thinks he can do 19 damage, which sounds about right. 6 plus 7, so that's 13 with plasma rifle, 17, 89 with cable. You could spend another resource on tic-tac-toe to you actually have lethal there because that's 19. Tic-tac-toe with another counter on it, it's 4 damage on there, and that will do it. I wonder if he realizes that or not. We still have a couple of minutes in the video, but yeah, we could win here, no problem. Well, I say no problem by the exact amount. 3 resources are going for Telekinetic Blast. I do love Telekinetic Blast. I was talking about that in my recent video about the cards Jubilee comes with. This is what the new Generation X side scheme is going to be so good for, just growing this when you need it. 13 damage. He goes from 23 to 10. That is super satisfying. So Retaliate knocks off the tough, and Plasma Rifle is getting 4 damage, so we're down to a 6 health Thanos. This is very satisfying. He took Retaliate from Plasma Rifle, but it actually has ranged, so we're all good. Not that the damage mattered anyway, but it's a nice benefit for Plasma Rifle. I think he's seen it. Nice. Nice. Perfect lethal. Beautiful. Defeating Thanos, the Mad Titan, wielder of the Infinity Gauntlet and all the Infinity Stones, defeated by kind of a variant of Deadpool, a cable variant of Deadpool, just playing tic-tac-toe on the side of his card game. I mean, why not? Excellent. That's awesome. That's very cool. He seems pretty happy he defeated Thanos from full health in kind of one turn, and that's kind of the best way to do it with most villains, if I'm honest. Not always possible, not always the most fun, but definitely very, very efficient. Then you don't have to suffer them being in their stronger form for longer than you need to. Okay, so I think this is the end of the video. So thank you so much to Waris for playing the deck. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching that, and that was very satisfying to watch Thanos get defeated like that by tic-tac-toe. I absolutely love it. So now we've cut to my Discord server, and if you guys are interested in joining, it's for the channel. There's a link down in the description, but there is a channel there for unusual X-Force decks where people can post their experiences. And the first person to post here, and we're now going to be looking through these, is Jay Walton 77, also known as Get Up and Game, a legend, absolutely amazing content creator who helped me when I actually got into this and just encouraged me in general. So always love to see it when they comment or participate in anything, so that's absolutely fantastic. Now, I believe, yep, so Get Up and Game has taken the cable deck, which most of these will be, again, with the cable deck, is actually kind of the solo deck overall, and taken on Project Wide Awake Standard 2 Expert and won. Now, this deck was not built for Standard 2 because it has a lot of kind of surge, it has more overkill, things that I just didn't really deck build to account for overall. It can obviously do it. I think it's a strong deck and Cable is a strong hero, but it wasn't, something I had in mind when I made it. And what I definitely didn't have in mind is Project Wide Awake, because it has cards like X-Bunker and Professor, which obviously comes with all Cable decks, that you want to go Alter Ego for. Project Wide Awake hurts you when you go Alter Ego, and with Standard 2 just making that a little bit scarier, that's interesting. And it also stops you from blocking with allies, which this deck definitely is intended to as well. It's got Nick Fury and Professor X who lose value if you don't block with them. So Project Wide Awake is actually a tough matchup for this deck, and I would say Standard 2 makes it scarier. So the fact that Get Up and Game actually beat the scenario with this deck, I think is really impressive. I'm very happy with that. So we can see the kind of setup here. Hopefully it's kind of clear to you guys. Professor and X-Punker are in play against a scenario and an acceleration token from Bob, Agent of Hydra, which you don't want to block with him here. So he's kind of just an acceleration token forever, which is, I would say, the supports and things and the ally in play here actually made it quite difficult against Project Wide Awake, I imagine. So very well done for winning, for getting the job done. That's excellent. So that's very cool. And I should say, I did skim read, a few of these posts in the past, kind of as they came in, but this was weeks ago. This was, in fact, well over a month ago. So I don't remember all of them, and I didn't read through everything. I tried to leave surprises. I just, skimmed the first line for most of them just to check what was coming in, and if things were a complete disaster, we might have had to change the plan a little bit. But thankfully, and it's fine if people lose, and people have lost with this deck. But if everyone lost and found the deck terrible, we might not make a video on it. I'll put it that way. So let's go down. Nike Leos. I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. But this fine person has really enjoyed the Domino deck. That's excellent. Played it solo against Magneto on standard twice and won both. What I'm going to do, probably for a couple of longer posts reacting here, is I will just read it all, cut out the kind of the reading time as I edit this video, and then I'll just kind of summarize what happened for the sake of time. So yeah, they're basically saying that they actually got some stuns and confuse going in the later half of the scenario using Mirage and Professor X, which is really fun here, and that's obviously really good against Magneto, and that they hadn't played Danger Room or Training Room deck yet, but they found Triskelion really valuable to increase the ally space. Really nice victory there, and I do like this playmat because I have it myself. My partner bought it for me because I do like playing some Spider-Man, and we used this the other day actually, and we can see Danger Room, Cerebro, Pip the Pug, Painted Lady, Weapon X, Fitness Probability Field, and Sharpshooter near Triskelion on the bottom right. Both pistols out. I mean, this is phenomenal. Once you have this kind of set up on Domino, you are practically unstoppable, unless the main scheme kind of, frets out while you're flipping. But again, that is why this was recommended, not for solo, although it can be, fine solo. I tested it solo as well a couple times, but even better in multiplayer. So yeah, very, very nice. Next up, let's see. The next one is from the J-Rear. I don't remember this one coming in. Let's have a look. Hi there, I gave the Cable deck a try against standard Magneto. Magneto's getting destroyed. And also the Sentinels. I like that we've really gone after kind of the X-Men kind of villains here, which is, pretty fitting for Cable. Even if he's X-Force, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of overlap there. So against Magneto, and had a great time. Blitzed through all the scenario side schemes with no problems at all. When Specialized Training got Cable up to 3-4. Yeah, as we kind of saw there, that Surveillance Specialist kind of upgrade coming in. Just unbelievably good. Really, really powerful. And then main scheme is very easy to keep under control. I think that's what they're saying. Best moment of the game is when I got to clear cover backup and ambush in one go with Ascani-san and got to take out Unicorn, hopefully I'm saying that right, who still had her tough card. That's really fun. So cool for backups on the board, and there's a minion out that you haven't been able to defeat, but when you defend probably the villain attack, you can then actually, with Ascani-san, remove threat from call for backup, then it will trigger ambush, getting rid of the minion before it presumably would have then been about to attack you, because you're at that point kind of in the villain phase. Getting an ally from call for backup at the same time, that's going to be very, very satisfying. Healing factor was helpful, it looks like. Tic-tac-toe, didn't need to flip down at all because of those. That's really, really good. Dreadpool and Acolyte started to pop up, but 13 damage, yeah, Telekinetic Blast, ended the game. That's excellent. Let's have a look at the picture here. We see Healing Factor, which we saw in the video, was very, very effective. Surveillance Specialist, same kind of thing going on here. Grey Malkin. The Ascani-san was the difference here. This person obviously prioritized it, whereas Waris didn't, and I probably wouldn't. I probably would have gone for Professor though and used a lot more, alter ego. So it's very interesting how these styles kind of, but there's always a different way to approach it. But yeah, that's very, very cool and nicely done. So great job to everyone so far, but I'm sure someone's going to lose soon. Let's have a look. Okay, we have down here Garnana. Garnana. Hopefully I'm pronouncing one of those attempts right. Took 2 attempts last night with the deck against Venom, and actually I did read this response and I replied to try and help them. They had a bit of trouble with Expert Venom. They lost both, having a hard time digging out the start with Tooth and Nail side scheme. Second round, I had a fantastic turn 1, completely specialized training side scheme, as well as Technovirus on the first turn. I mean, that's impressive. Yeah, so I think what I would see is the main problem here, and I'm not making excuses for the deck, but maybe I am, is that they seem to focus a lot of their threat removal, and they had, at least 10 of it here, on getting player side schemes done. But, well, player side schemes are absolutely amazing for Cable. The problem with Venom on Expert is that side scheme, which has 8 threat, by the way, it's kind of nasty, has that hazard icon, and that means you're getting extra encounter cards. So it's actually better, I would say, to take out Tooth and Nail first every single time, then focus on whatever player side schemes, whatever threat you can remove from those. If not, wait 1 turn. Just because the extra encounter card is just really bad, and I don't think boosting your stats a bit and getting maybe a little bit of card every turn is equivalent to, doubling your chance for Shadow of the Past, or as here happened, the Obligation, or, things like that. I just think with Expert Venom, solo play is quite difficult. That 8 threat starting is ridiculous. So yeah, prioritizing that I think might have helped. And I go on to try and strategize about easy ways to try and like help with that. But I actually made a small mistake in what I replied to this because I forgot that Venom had a tough card starting off, because that side scheme actually, you can remove threat from it when you damage Venom, so on and so forth. But long story short, probably prioritize that is the general advice if you try this against Expert Venom. Otherwise, I think it'll work pretty well against him. Then we have Gavindalf here, who says, just took down mutagen formula with Goblin Gear on Heroic with the Cable deck. So I remember I skimmed this first sentence and I just stopped reading here. This deck wasn't built for Heroic. I don't know how they managed this. I mean, Cable's strong. I think the deck is good, and obviously Ambush is good against minions, which Mutagen Formula has a lot of, so it's probably actually a very good matchup. But Goblin Gear, as if Heroic wasn't enough, they've really tried to suffer. So Goblin Gear is what comes with Venom Goblin normally, so that's pretty interesting. Let's see how this went. Incredibly fun game. Started off getting Surveillance Specialist, that's kind of the standard. Thanks to Professor X. Now, I didn't explain it fully in this video, but we have between, Spider-Man, Professor X, the Mind Scans, and Blackout, we actually have quite a few ways to be able to defeat it turn 1 quite reliably. It's not going to happen every mulligan, but it will happen more often than not in my testing. And this is probably the unusual deck I tested the most. I think I had the most fun with it. I just, actually, it's close for a few, but I really like Cable. Goblin gave me 3 new minions to deal with, one being Monster, Call for Backup, and Ambush in hand. Again, Call for Backup and Ambush being used again here in tandem, just like against Magneto. So I'm really glad the Ambush thing is, being pretty consistent at helping people here, as it was for me. Attached Ambush, cleared Call for Backup, got that, the Ambush got rid of a Goblin Soldier. Nick did 4 damage and swung against Monster. There we are, not using the card draw. I do like this option just to consistently deal with problems. I think that's really, really nice. That took Monster out, so then we've got, he got his glider next turn. Now, I think he has 1 regular Goblin glider, not from the Goblin gimmick set, but in his own encounter set. But I'm guessing this means the advanced glider. He was confused from Professor X turn 1, yep. Drew an advance. that sucks, that sucks. Confusing the villain, doing everything you can right, but then because of the glider, suddenly they have, they get schemed against twice. That is very unfortunate. 6 or 7 player side schemes in the victory display, and I think 7, although we did have Thanos' one there as well, was what Waris managed in the video we watched. Seems like that's a pretty common number, where you just start to destroy the enemy. Knew that they couldn't take out Stage 3 Goblin before the encounter phase, so they would have to deal with all the encounter cards they'd be dealing. But that was fine because, this is a really cool thing. They used precognition to see what encounter cards were coming up. Know they'd be safe, so they could knock Goblin over into his final form in, the expert form, or, heroic expert form. 3 encounter cards, which you have to survive, which is pretty scary, in addition to his normal ones. Which in heroic would be like 5 encounter cards, which is interesting. But then using allies, plasma rifle, basic activations, and of course telekinetic blast, end up with about 10 excess damage. I'm really glad we have like a good health amount of excess damage. Beating him on heroic mode, we saw Waris take out Thanos' final stage 2 on standard mode, just in 1 go entirely, while dealing with a guard minion and a bunch of other stuff. So I like that we have a nice good amount of finishing power that everyone's managing to find, despite the, it's a somewhat complicated deck, I would say. I mean, I think Cable is harder than the average hero. Nothing, maybe compared to Domino, who's a little bit crazy. But yeah, I like that people are finding this. Obviously, if they're playing heroic, they're very, very experienced. Ambush was good for getting them out of danger and avoiding the when defeated effects. Oh yeah, I think they actually mentioned that. I skimmed over it. Goblin Soldiers, so they got to ignore the when defeated effect. Yeah, that's really handy. This isn't like the worst one, taking 1 damage, but nonetheless defeating dodging when defeated effects. I like that. Defeating when defeated effects. That's fun. I like doing that. I think that's really, really satisfying. That's the most satisfying way to use Ambush. Blackout help with awkward forwarding numbers. Excellent. Yeah, we got the body side X bunker thing going here. It looks like that's such a good thing to do. So yeah, I'm glad that worked well. If someone told me they were taking on mutagen formula heroic with Goblin Gear with this deck, I wouldn't have said it's 0%, but I probably wouldn't have said it was, anywhere over 60%. Or I don't play a lot of heroic. People don't play heroic very commonly. I did a poll recently once, and it got 1% for heroic mode. So I haven't really anchored my content for it. So I play what I make content for. And I would say overall I enjoy expert more. I don't tend to, I say I don't tend to min-max and, optimize decks, but apparently this deck was good enough for it. So maybe I should try it more. And if I do gameplay on this channel, would you guys prefer to see me play standard, expert, or heroic? I'd be really interested to get any kind of feedback on that. Then I think we have somebody else try. Let's have a look. Fantastic Fox 79. I thought I was going to have a tough time. Chose Cable, Frenemies versus a Red Skull Standard 2 Expert 2. This is interesting to me because everyone who responds to my stuff, basically says, I normally just play Expert or I normally just play Standard. I think I have more Expert players than the average channel. I've seen, some other big content creators, they have, their polls, they have a lot more Standard as opposed to Expert, whereas mine is almost 50-50. But why are people playing Standard 2 Expert 2 so much with this deck? It was meant to be a fun, unusual deck, not an optimized deck. That's really funny. I mean, I did put in Nick Fury and a lot of power cards here though, so it is what it is. We've recommended mods, so that's not terrible. Although Red Skull Standard 2 Expert 2 could be pretty scary. Let's see what happens. Cable win in 8 turns. I think I do remember vaguely reading this. I have reacted to them leveling up on the Discord server. I don't believe I've read this, so let's see what's happened. So I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this, but after reading all this, I realized I took a long time breaking this down. But the long story short here is that they got a triple resource for Professor X Leon, got the surveillance specialist like we were talking about. They got a call for backup, which they held on to. Then they got I was going to say Professor Nick. Then they got Nick Fury from that. And then later on, they cleared the Red Skull side scheme, which lets you choose an ally. They got Nick Fury again. So we're getting a lot of very powerful Nick Fury action going on here. And long story short, they get Tic-Tac-Toe down, they power that up, and then combining that with Telekinetic Blast, they end up taking out Red Skull a few turns later. But Ambush, as you might be able to see on a couple of things here, actually ends up being vital to take out a lot of minions, which is really nice to see. So the deck worked perfectly as intended. And Standard 2, Expert 2 Red Skull, and there was a few Standard 2 cards that happened here. We've got Seek and Destroy, we've got Total Annihilation, They actually had some stuff come out from it and handled it just fine, so that's really, really nice to hear. So that's awesome. Oh, we got a picture. Cable, Technic Force Field, which I didn't even have to use in the end. They got their rifle out. These tokens are really interesting. I've not seen these before. I wonder if they're from a different game. But generally, really, really nice. Looks like Red Skull had a bad time. And, oh yeah, even Professor X is confused wouldn't fully work here. So, didn't need it, apparently. All good. So, that's fantastic to see. They've got some feedback. Is it good? Ambush was so good. Cleared 3 or 4 minions. Triple resource helped a lot, and Tic-Tac-Toe was useful to get back to full for triples. I mean, that's kind of what it's there for as well. And he had 1 Red Skull side scheme last more than 1 round, and after Skani, they didn't survive the fill-in phase. I mean, obviously, Red Skull, Cable, okay, all the player side schemes, it's a pretty good matchup for him, but nonetheless, I'm very, very happy with this. That's excellent. Anyone else? Okay, Dan the Crow is trying this. Now, I do remember reading this a little bit here. Somebody else pointed out they kind of used the wrong version of Hope Summers here, so maybe this game didn't go super well here, we'll say. But nonetheless, appreciate people trying the deck. Hopefully it was a fun attempt. I think they also tried the Domino deck alongside the Cable one here. So most people playing Cable, mostly some very good results, some very impressive results, I think, against Standard 2, Expert 2. Some bad scenarios for the deck, some good scenarios for the deck. And, the heroic mutagen formula, where was it? I don't want to bring too much attention to just the people playing the most, difficult thing here, because I want this to be more about the experience. But nonetheless, I'm very, very impressed with this. This is really nice. So really cool to see. Hopefully you guys all had fun, even if you didn't win. And that, I think, will do it for the review portion of this video. So yeah, again, any feedback, super, super welcome. This was really interesting. So last but not least, although maybe it is the least, honestly, I think that reviewing what you guys did was definitely the most important part, but I have the rest of the unusual decks here. So this is going to be kind of a weird video where I'm reviewing a video, reviewing kind of text and pictures, and then I'm kind of going back to talking about decks. So this may be a bit of a strange one, but I have 4 more decks, 1 for each of the remaining X-Force heroes to talk about, and I won't go into as much depth as I did in my original video for the first 2. Again, I don't know if I'm really going to be able to do a review video for people playing these, but after Honorary Psionic, we had Aerial Arms Dealer. So this is a new deck for Angel. It is a protection deck, and I think the name here is pretty accurate. So the whole idea is we have 3 copies of Sidearm. Angel is Aerial. He's dealing out sidearms to his allies, and it's not usual to, use allies too much as a focus for Angel in the first place. So this is kind of why it's unusual. I don't think we ever normally see Elixir. We don't normally see all these allies, coming out here in protection, I don't think. So this was really fun to put together. And you can see we've got First Aid and Med Team. This is to keep those expensive X-Force allies alive. So we've got Cannonball, who doesn't take consequential damage most of the time. Elixir, it came in as pre-con, but it's kind of like the most unpopular card from it, I would say, definitely when I looked into it. So Elixir can help heal up another ally. Cannonball's not taking much damage, so we're easily able to have 2, 2, 3 of these bigger allies out with sidearms on them and keep them alive in tandem with, the Med Team and First Aid. Deathlock just gets sidearm put onto him if you play him while one is in your discard pile, which is really good. And Psylocke is incredibly good value if you keep her healed and if you boost her damage. She can attack and then ready you up, which is really good. But in the case that you can't keep her healed, she can actually heal herself as well if you use her when you're in the Angel form. So that's really fun as well. Is it optimal? No. Is it unusual? Yes. So that was our goal here. And I've had a lot of fun with this deck. Next up, we have Chain Lightning, which is my Psylocke deck. Now, the Angel deck was built for solo play, but it's absolutely fine in multiplayer as long as people kind of are aware that you're taking more of a leadership kind of support and help out wherever needed kind of role, leaning toward damage. It is not a protection, defend people deck by any means. This Psylocke deck here, Chain Lightning, is an aggression deck built for multiplayer, ideally 3 to 4 player. It can be fine at 2 player. Honestly, Psylocke's so good, it's still fine at 1 player, but it's not what it's built for. It won't do as well as many other decks there. But nonetheless, here it is. And the whole focus is, attacks that can bounce between different enemies, attacks with multiple instances of damage. That's where the Chain Lightning comes from. It's kind of, damage, 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 zapping between people. That was kind of the image I had in my head. And this all stems from Flurry of Blades being able to deal 2 damage 3 times, either all on the same target or, as the theme is going for, multiple different targets. And yes, it's mathematically better to get the Confuse, but maybe Professor X or another card has got a Confuse out there for you. Maybe the enemy is Stalwart. Maybe in multiplayer, someone else has done the Confusing. This card is still really good if you get the damage because it's so flexible, but we're pairing it up here. We have Hone Technique in the deck, which is for the aggression attacks, not this card, but otherwise, all the damage boosting things for attacks work on both the aspect cards we're taking and Flurry of Blades. So we have Aggressive Energy and Warrior Skill, which is going to take, if you use both of them on Flurry of Blades, up to dealing 4 damage, 4 damage, and 4 damage instead of 2, 2, and 2, which is excellent. Then we've got 1x1 and Melee, which are attack cards which can hit basically 2 different enemies, which is really, really good when you're pairing them with Aggressive Energy, Warrior Skill, and for these cards, Hone Technique. So the idea is that even though Psylocke has a lower hand size than the average hero when in hero form, although you do want to keep flipping with her, if you draw into any one of her attacks, whether it's Flurry of Blades or an aggression attack, you can use 1 attack card to take out 2 enemies. So I think that's really consistent minion clearing. I think it's just really fun to boost up the damage of attacks that you're used to doing, set amounts. So I really like that. I really like combining the Hone Technique with Warrior Skill. I like that Psylocke is on the Warrior Skill art as well. So then we have Deadpool, and the Deadpool deck I've got for him in the Unusual X-Force series is called Alive Pool, which clearly is unusual because it's the opposite of Deadpool. But the whole idea here is that Deadpool is a very, very risky character to play. I would say riskier than Star-Lord. Deadpool has this Regenerating Degenerate ability, which when he would be defeated, actually you survive with 1 hit point, you just have to go Ultra Ego and put an acceleration token on the main scheme. And this is really good, and you might think makes him, it's pretty safe, he can't be defeated. And you can play it like that, and you'll be fine. But almost all of Deadpool's cards want him to take damage or have been damaged, so he does kind of want to lean on this to stop damage happening to him or stop him being defeated from, attacks, I should say. However, if let's say you're at 1 hit point and the boost effect on a card when an enemy is attacking you does damage, that will flip you to Ultra Ego, then the full attack will come through, you're defeated. Maybe you've taken a normal attack, you've just been flipped to Ultra Ego from that, then your encounter card does damage to you, you are defeated. So Deadpool is a character who, when things go his way, is probably the most, one of the most powerful characters in the game. He can win unbelievably fast, he will win pretty much any speed run challenge you set for him, but you might not win on the first attempt. Now, the nice thing about going fast with Deadpool is it's less chance for you to be defeated because you're seeing less encounter cards throughout the whole game. But this deck as well is more intended for multiplayer. It's not really intended to go fast. It's intended for you not to randomly be defeated out of nowhere, while still letting you lean onto using his Regenerating Degenerate and, damage-inducing events and things like that. Because there's nothing worse than being in, let's say, a 4-person game. It might take you, quite a while to get a few rounds in. 4-player games tend to, on average, the way I've seen them play, take quite a long time. So just randomly being defeated on turn 3 or 4, when you committed so much time to it, it's going to feel bad, completely out of your hands. You couldn't stop the encounter card. That's awful. So this deck is built around stopping encounter cards, around stopping boost cards, and there are some other effects that aren't, encounter cards or boost cards that can hurt you. So we also have energy barrier for that. So Black Widow stopping the encounter cards, target acquired is stopping the boost cards, energy barrier I just mentioned is stopping any other kind of forms of damage, or if you don't have target acquired out for boost cards, it can stop the damage from those and so on. And I just put Blade here. He's just a nice, really cheap way to get 3 hit points on the board that can help block either unexpected attacks if you don't want to be defeated too early, but actually mainly I was going to say indirect damage, which is kind of another threat, although usually the source of indirect damage is something you can prevent with Black Widow or target acquired or block with energy barrier, so usually not too bad, but worth mentioning. Lastly, we have my X23 Justice deck, Web of Slicing Enemies, and yeah, this is a deck with Web of Life and Destiny. That's kind of the wordplay. It's always funny if you have to explain it, right, guys? I'm trying to say this is a Web Warrior deck, and I should probably mention we've had one deck so far from every single aspect, but 2 protection decks. I kind of doubled up on that for Deadpool because I had to double up on one of them, and it's mostly a basic deck. So, I kind of got 6 different kind of things, but yeah. So let's go into this Justice deck, Web of Slicing Enemies. The whole idea here that really inspired this deck is that the Otto Octavius Spider-Man can ready up your claws. So Web of Life and Destiny gets card draw. All of X23's cards are unbelievably good. So, Web Warriors are just good on everyone, basically. Not 100%, but basically. And then we have this Spider-Man ally who can ready up our claws because of his response when played from your hand. So X23 claws get you +2 attack. You play Spider-Man Otto Octavius, and then you can use your claws another time. Now you have taken a ton of damage from this, but your stats, your attacking stat is now at 5. If you've got Combat Specialist out, you'll be at 6. If you play Claw Mastery, you'll be at 8. And like I say, X23's cards are so good that having Ghost Spider just, playable and, her interrupt in the first place, so good to set up combos or, Sicily Bond, things like that. Just a fantastic, fantastic ally for anyone. But X23's cards are so good. X23 is so good. I really like Ghost Spider. And something I meant to say previously, looking at the whole thing here, is that yes, having to pay for Web of Life and Destiny or use build support to get it in play, it's maybe a bit slower than what a Web Warrior would do, just playing it for 0 cost effectively. But the nice thing about X23 over a lot of characters, you have some of the most ridiculous starting output of any character. Without spending a single card, you can deal 3 damage or 4 threat removal to any starting minion or side scheme that's out from the villain. You might just be able to defeat it without spending a single card, then dedicate everything to setting up. And it's worth mentioning as well, Honey Badger's still so good. Still probably a bigger priority than most of the Web Warrior stuff going on here. But nonetheless, I think it goes together really well. Really fun. Level to play side scheme stuff as well with one way or another, which isn't exclusive to this deck by any means, but it just goes really, really nicely all together with the Web Warrior stuff on top. So that was this deck using Otto Octavius, and that will conclude this video. This very kind of mixed up kind of video on the unusual X-Force decks I've been making. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing this, enjoyed watching, enjoying the reviews, and enjoyed playing it. Thank you so much to everyone who played either the Cable or Domino deck. Hugely appreciated and hugely enjoyable. Hopefully that came through. So I really appreciate that. Hope you guys have a really good rest of your day. Remember, if you're interested in joining the Discord server and participating in anything like this, the link is down below. And I want to say thank you so much to anyone who played the deck, both to Waris Ali for his amazing video, but also for all the people who posted their experiences in my Discord server. If you enjoyed this, if you want to get involved, the link again to the Discord is down below. If you want to maybe ambush that subscribe button, you are more than welcome. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.